a student in Baltimore, Maryland. I was going to a music conservatory, and at that point I was planning to be a classical pianist, and it was sort of the end of my second year there that I began to read a lot. And I had been raised in a church and sort of always thought of myself as a Christian. I was a good kid, you know, but the more I read about Christianity and what was actually involved in it, the more I realized I wasn't a Christian. I was a good kid who went to church. And I think a lot of us are guilty of the same thing. We basically understand or live a hand-me-down religion. We basically believe the way we believe because we were taught to believe that way, because somebody told us to believe that way. And we never took the time to really sit down and study the Bible ourselves or develop a relationship with God. I had no concept of the idea of a personal relationship with God. I didn't know what that was. I accepted Christ as who he was. I said, well, Christ was the Son of God. Okay, fine. But you see, there was no personal contact there for me. And I think a lot of times, what happens is, sooner or later, you either fall by the wayside and just give up on church or the Lord altogether, or you will get down and you will find out what it's really all about. If this is what you say you are and this is what you believe, then you need to understand why. And you see, in the learning and the studying like that, it was through the challenging of my faith that it was stronger as a result. And the more I studied and the more I read and the more I learned about the Lord, the stronger I grew. And that process has been an ongoing one now for years. And even now, when I have a challenge in my Christian faith, either from another individual that challenges something I say or do, rather than getting upset or angry, I just simply go out and start researching, and I learn. It's right there in the Bible. It's all there. It's just, unfortunately, we're so selective in what we hear and understand, and oftentimes people don't tell us the whole story. They tell us little bits here and there, and until we're willing to sit down and really discover God for ourselves, we'll never really know him fully. And that's an individual decision that we have to make, So for me personally, the greatest moment was my second year at the conservatory when I finally set out to find God myself. Forget what anyone told me, forget what my parents said, forget what anybody else said. I want to find God. And when you seek God, you will find him. That's all I've got to say.